Okay, so I'm watching a YouTube video from an employment attorney here in Seattle. And, he had some great information. And of course, he got to the notorious opinion on HR. And he's like, never trust HR. And of course, it triggered me, right? Because as you all know, I'm a former recovering HR professional. But it got me to thinking, everybody says it, never trust HR. HR's not your friend. And honestly, I get it. But here's the truth. HR isn't your best friend, but don't write us off completely because we could actually help you advance your career. And by the end of this video, you'll know when to be cautious with HR and also when to leverage HR as one of your most powerful career resources. So like most of you, I, of course, went straight to the comments of that video, right? And they did not disappoint. So here's just a few that jumped out to me. HR are weasels. Okay. HR will use your words against you, probably, and never trust your coworkers or HR. Not bad advice. I'm, of course, saying it a little bit tongue in cheek, but look, HR's duty is to the company, right? We work for the company. We're there to protect the company. Now, again, I've said this in countless videos where I do believe a good HR person should balance the loyalty and protection of the company with being an employee advocate. Some HR people don't do that well. They skew very heavily toward the side of the company. Here's the other thing. At-will employment gives employees little protection. And many only see HR people during a conflict or during firing, right? Almost on the worst days of their life. So they never actually see HR in a positive light. There's one thing I want to unpack here, and it's a misunderstanding about confidentiality. I was talking to one of my viewers today. Hi, Leslie, if you're watching. She was talking through a situation and we were kind of going back and forth. And I realized she's never actually leveraged HR. She's never even met her HR person. So I encouraged her to do so, and I gave her some tips on how to interact with them. But I said to her, if you go to HR and say this horrible thing is happening, HR cannot keep that secret. They have to go and look into it. They have a responsibility to both you, the person making an allegation, but also to the accused. So in doing so, they cannot promise absolute confidentiality. They have to go and investigate it. And if it's found to be substantiated, the claim you're talking about, HR and management have to work together to make sure that behavior is not repeated in the future. Does that protect the company? Yes. Does that also protect the employee from future incidents of whatever is happening? Yes. When people come to HR and say, hey, I'm going to tell you this, but I don't want you to do anything with it. I can't tell you I'm not going to do anything with it. So proceed with caution. But I want you to tell me that so I can go do something about it to make your work experience, your work environment a more positive, productive place. And be careful what you share with us because it's part of our jobs to go do something about it. And look, I understand if you've overshared to an HR person in the past and suddenly your boss knows all about it. I get it. You feel betrayed by HR, but I'm here to tell you there's another way to leverage that relationship with HR to positive effects. So again, yes, HR works for the company, but that doesn't mean HR has no value for you. Now, we are not the enemy, nor are we your therapist. HR is a resource. And like any resource, you just have to know how to leverage it. So I know what you're thinking. If you've stuck around, and thank you for doing so, please stay with me. I have some positive stuff to talk about. First of all, what can HR do to help you? Well, there's a bunch of stuff and stuff I used to love doing in my former life, in my corporate life, right? So first of all is talking about or developing training programs, right, to get people where they want to go in their careers. I loved putting together things that would have a positive impact on people that they could leverage to get a promotion or whatever they want to do to advance their careers. I loved putting that together. That includes coaching people, right? I'd sit down with people and they're like, hey, Rob, I want to become a manager. I don't know how to do that. We'd map that out and tell them to go do X, Y, and Z things and put a plan together for them to engage in and show their boss, yes, look what all I'm doing to get that promotion, right? That's a good thing. That's a positive thing that I used to love to do. Then that leads to internal mobility, right? We have a seat at the table as HR professionals when we're doing talent planning or talent discussions. I'm able to help you if I have intel on what you want to do. So for example, if somebody's been working with me and I'm coaching them on how to manage their career and everything, now I find myself in that that talent discussion meeting, I'm able to advocate on this employee and say, look, I've met with Sue multiple times. We've put together a solid plan, and she's really been executing well on that plan. And now I'm partnering with her manager in that conversation where the manager's like, yes, I've actually seen Sue actually develop new skills and have really great results. And that's a good talk track when you're not even in the room, right? We're talking positive things about you, and that's going to lead to a promotion or some mobility to a different department or different team or what have you. That's a good scenario to find yourself. If you are ignoring HR and not leveraging us and considering us the enemy or the police or whatever you want to call us, then we don't have that firsthand information from you about what you want to do, right? We might have a couple bullet points based on conversation, but it's always helpful for us to hear it from you. So then we can turn, like I said, represent you in that meeting for positive outcomes. The other thing we can do is I've coached a lot of people where they're having some performance struggles, right? Maybe they're having some miscommunications or whatever it is with their manager. If they come to me and say, hey, Rob, I'm really falling down on this. What can I do? We can go through that and put a plan together that they can go from poor or mediocre performance all the way up to positive or high performance. Now, you're probably thinking, because I've talked a lot about performance improvement plans on this channel before, otherwise known as PIPs, I'd be in a better place to support an employee if I had been working with them all along on their performance and coaching them. But if it gets to the point where I've never met this employee, I've never talked to them, they've never shared with me about their struggles, and all of a sudden their manager's coming to me about putting them on a performance plan, that's the information I have that, okay, we're already at a poor performance state. So if you had leveraged me earlier in the process when you realized, hey, I am falling down on the job, my performance is mediocre, and now I don't want to get fired, what can I do about it? I'm here for that conversation all day long. So again, it's when you leverage me and when you come and engage with the HR department that could actually, pay some good dividends for you and not always be the scenario where HR just shows up at the end when you're being either your performance is being managed or you're being let go from the organization. Then, of course, there's the other things, right? HR is great for policy, clarity, whether it be benefits. I'm not an expert in benefits, but I could point you in the right direction, right? Or if you need to workplace accommodation, or if you need to go out on a medical leave or that type of stuff, HR is a valuable resource to help you know what your rights are. It's in our best interest and the best interest of the organization to abide by the law. So we're going to guide you and say, hey, these are your resources. This is what the process is. And that can help inform what you do on the back end. You can also go validate. If you really don't trust HR, you can actually go validate it on the websites for, say, FMLA or workplace accommodations, all that type of stuff. We're not going to lie to you. We want to set you up for success. And in doing so, we're going to share the right resources with you. And then again, the last thing we can do from a positive standpoint, among other things, but the one that pops to mind for me is we can help mediate some conflict. So if you've got challenges with your boss, or if you've got challenges with a coworker or another team or whatever the scenario is, we can actually engage in that and help kind of broker a peace deal, if you will, without it getting into an investigation standpoint. But again, like I said a second ago, it's when you engage with us that is the critical factor here. If you let something fester over time where the relationship is so degraded that it results in, say, a harassment issue or whatever, that's going to change how we engage. And then it's going to become an investigation. Then it becomes probably a lot more than it needed to be in the beginning had you just leveraged us earlier on in the situation so that we could actually intervene and head it off at the pass before it becomes a big situation. So how do you use HR wisely? How would I sum it up? Well, first of all, share with us your goals, your career development needs. If you have any policy questions, what your interests are in new opportunities, whether it be in your team or on other teams in the organization. What not to share is gossip, vague personal problems, or off-the-record complaint. As I said before, It's never off the record with us. So yes, we are going to keep things as confidential as we can. But if something goes off on our radar that causes us to act, we have no choice. That's part of our job. We have to act. Now we are going to lead with confidentiality in the forefront of our mind, but we cannot promise absolute confidentiality. So HR could kind of be thought of as LinkedIn, right? It's professional, it's strategic, and it's focused on opportunity, but less of a friend. All right, let's go back into the comments for a minute. Let me respond to some of these, right? HR will use your words against you. True, if you overshare your personal drama and it's impacting the workplace, but if you're sticking on career growth or some of the other positives we've been talking about, we're not going to use your words against you because there's no reason to. HR is not your friend, right? But HR is not the enemy either. It's not the enemy you may think it is. You just haven't engaged with us in a positive topic or a positive situation. So it's all about using us as a resource. Only unions protect workers. Okay, yes, unions do add some protections, but HR is still there to help you manage your opportunities in the workplace, your benefits, your training, lots of other stuff. So at the end of the day, do I agree with never trust HR completely? Okay, maybe, but I'd reframe that. I would say never overshare with HR, but always leverage HR. The smart employees aren't the ones who avoid HR. They're the ones that actively engage and leverage HR to advance their career. So tell me in the comments below, tell me what your bad experiences are with HR. I'd love to see them. Some of them will probably, I was going to say make my hair stand on end, but you know what I mean. They'll probably surprise me. So I'd love to hear your stories. Let me know in the comments. And if you like content like this, or if you've found it helpful, and maybe you're going to look at your HR person a little bit differently and maybe go interact with them on a positive topic, I challenge you to do so. Hopefully you have a good HR person and it will be a positive experience for you. And some people, I know I'm not going to change your mind. I get it. But I promise you, there are good HR people out there who do want to help and support you in your growth. So if you like this type of content, I would be absolutely honored if you would like this video and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I hope each of you are well. If you're in the job market right now, it's a tough one, but I wish you success and I hope those job offers start rolling in very soon. And if you're currently in a job and you're thriving, I wish you continued success. And until next time, please take care. This video was recorded and produced by Just Talk Studios, the premier video podcasting studio in Bellevue, Washington. Visit justtalkstudios.com to learn more and book your session today.